My affinity group is fun.
Affinity groups are helpful.
Are inclusive.
Are impactful.
Are important.
Are needed.
Affinity groups are a way to get to know yourself.
Affinity groups are family.
Affinity groups are spaces where students can speak from the I perspective. They are spaces for affirmation of identity. They are spaces to learn more, about an identifier, to celebrate that identifier, and then to also be able to, collaborate, educate the broader community. So you see this really beautiful way of looking in and also reaching out.
We talk about how hard it's been for some cultures, and we talk about our rights.
The purpose of our group is to allow Black girls to come together and relate.
It's definitely helped me kind of communicate with people better.
I'm half Persian, half Colombian, so I didn't really have like a defined friend group of people who shared my culture. So it made me feel a bit more welcome because there were some people I knew I could talk to.
It makes me more happy to be at Hawken, to know they acknowledge that it is a predominantly white space and we need these certain clubs or interest groups just to express ourselves sometimes.
There are also Black male teachers around you that you can go talk to if maybe you're not comfortable talking at home. I guess you have someone that's always here for you.
I would say we have affinity groups at Hawken because we have students who probably do not always see themselves in their individual classes, and they need to see people, talk to people who share the same backgrounds that they share. It goes back to windows and mirrors. If you're the only one in a class, there are a lot of windows, and it's valuable to have windows because you get perspectives on other people, but you also need mirrors. You need to see on a regular basis people who look like you, think like you, talk like you.
Also, we are probably one of the smallest affinity groups right now. So it has impacted me in showing that we actually do matter a lot and knowing that I'm not alone.
I participate in the Gender and Sexuality Alliance at the Master's School. I would say there's probably 3 tenets of it. One is to raise awareness about LGBTQ issues. The next is to have just a social space for people to come and make friends and be able to spend time with people who either identify with being LGBTQ or just want to learn more. And then the third would be just the education aspect.
So I'm the co-leader of the Hispanic/Latinx affinity group. We really try to talk about something serious, we had a very good discussion on immigration one time. We had a good discussion on the term Latinx, stuff like that. But then we also try to have a lot of fun,
We focus a lot on learning how to be leaders, learning the history of our identity, reading banned books, which I think is very important to Black Student Union, because a lot of the books that are currently being banned are books that have a lot to do with Black history. We also focus a lot on being interculturally competent, how we are interacting with different cultures, how are we putting our culture out there, and how are we receiving other cultures in our own cultures.
I think for our group, it's mostly to create a safe space for all the LGBTQ plus students. Sometimes you feel like you can't really express yourself at home, and then if you come to school and you feel like you can't express yourself in classes or with some of your friends, the affinity group is a really nice place because it's you can just sort of be exactly who you are. We do a lot of work to sort of reach out to people who aren't in the affinity group for education purposes. Education leads to acceptance in a lot of senses and making it a more tolerant community.
This year we've honestly struck a balance of education for the broader community, but then also celebrating with them and bringing them in on the celebrations that we have. When we had our talent show, we got to showcase each other so that they can know more about us as students.
People come in and they sort of are able to relax and sort of talk, open up. We do a lot of activities to sort of connect with each other over a shared sense of we don't really have a specific place.
Being in affinity allows students to be in a majority setting, so it allows them to be in spaces where they're not the only, and where there are students who can share, that particular aspect, of one's identity. For some students, it helps them to feel even more seen. It helps them to feel valued. It helps them to feel safe. It helps them to feel affirmed. And we know these are all things that are needed in order for students to thrive.
It makes me feel happy.
It makes me feel more included.
It makes me feel included and safe. It makes me feel like I belong.